pick a side.
On the lines we crossing.
Double lines we cross is dollar sign.
What you talking about?
Ooh, 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 hold up.
Hey.
I hear you just got paid, make it rain, energy. She more Cancun, he more Central Pay. Big wave in the room, the crowd gon' move. Look around, everybody on mute. Look around, it's me and my group. Big energy.
We was on stop mode, got froze from page vogue, no pause, chat too much book.
Make some noise!
I feel like falling in love.
I said we gotta go to the door.
I'm in the mood to roll something up. Tonight I'm rolling something. I need some drink in my cup.
Ooh.
Hey, I'm in the mood to pull something up.
What you want?
I wanna go missing. I need a prescription. I wanna go higher. Can I sit on top of you? I wanna go where nobody's been. Have you ever had fun like this? Oh, we gon' roll up tonight. Black lights, spaceships fly. Unapologetic when we pull up tonight. Roll it up tonight. We getting pulled up tonight. We gon' pull up tonight. See fire, let you see stars, let you elevate.
Can you sing it with me?
I feel like falling in love. I'm in the mood to put something up.
We say.
We go up tonight. What's in these four walls? You sexy, my love. Don't miss this roll call. As you hear a word.
Y'all help me out.
Show up.
And do what?
Go up.
Oh.
You Mr. Nasty. I'll clean it up. Go where nobody's been. Go where nobody's.
Have you ever felt in love like this? Put your hands up right now. You said. Can I get sexy? Sing it. The remix. Just dance with me. Here we go. What you feel like doing? And what else? You know I can't play that part.
Supersonic, sexy, erotic, on my body, boy you got it. Got them drugs while I ride it. Got me acting hella body, so excited, so exotic. I'm a seasoned professional. Squeeze it, don't let it go. Feel it, no self-control. I can see the love in your eyes. Boy, I know you wanna squeeze it, don't lie. Double tap when I walk by, fuck a reply. You wanna deep dive in it, and I know I boom on and not the zone that is high tide. Baby, just get in the water with it, boy, it's waist high. Ain't no need in holding back to stay with it, baby, keep on.
Wait, they told me we was in Houston.
Hit me.
Any DC fans in the building right now? We talking about losing our breath? Make me. Take your time, sis. Take your time. Yes, 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 ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. It's your show, baby. It's me and you tonight.
I'ma be in a dangerous mood. Can you match my timing? Telling me that you're really about it, what you're hiding. Talk is cheap, so show me that you understand I like it. Can you blow my mind? Set off my whole body. If I give you my time, can you snatch my soul from it? I don't want
you say.
Don't take it, take me where
Sis, can I dance with you? Can I dance with you? Can I meet you right here at the rail? You can't come up, but we can meet right here at the steps. Let's do it. Come on down here. Don't you be scared.
Clock strikes upon the hour and the sun begins to fade. Still enough time to figure out how to chase my blues away. I'm gonna ride up till now. It's the light of day that shows me how. And when the night falls, loneliness calls. Oh, I wanna dance with somebody. I wanna feel the heat with somebody. Yeah, I wanna dance with somebody. With somebody who loves me. Oh, I wanna dance with somebody. I wanna feel the heat with somebody. Yeah, I wanna dance with somebody. With somebody
Oh.
who loves me.
Verse 2.
Feeling love and lost my senses, spinning through the town. Sooner or later, the fever ends, and
If you want to live in America where everybody can dance with somebody, make some noise!
I need a man who'll take the chance on me.
So we're going to dance with each other.
Hard enough to
Is that okay?
So when the night falls,
Can everybody in here sing with me?
my heart falls.
Sing!
Oh, I wanna dance with somebody.
What else? I want to feel. We're going to sing this like we're about to elect the first black woman to be a president of the United States of America. Welcome to one of the largest rallies in American history. I want to feel it. Who you want to dance with? Yeah. Speaking of dancing with somebody, I feel like we forgot. You're going to be surprised when the beat drops, but that's okay. One more Beyoncé song. One more Beyoncé song and I'll be done, I promise. But it's never too much. What it say?
Got a lot of things, got a lot of upbeat on me. Gotta feel myself all right, gotta feel myself.
What you gotta do? Y'all know we gonna rap the verse, right? Let's do it. Oh, we're not done. Me and you. It's me and you. What else? If you're having a good time, put your hands up and sing this with me. You say. Over there. In the back. Why won't you just stay and dance with me right now? Here we go.
Why don't you stay?
Oh. Shout out to all the people live on YouTube right now. Shout out to everyone streaming at home. Wish you were here. Sorry. Everybody in the building scream so they can hear you online. Let's do it again. Here we go, here we go. You better sing it with me. You better sing it with me. Are you ready? The whole stadium, put your hands and let's do it one last time. Y'all may not know this, but I'm a first generation Cuban and my father came in, so I just want to get a little something. What you say? As a Cuban American, I had to do it. Shout out to Elvis Costello. Here we go. We gonna dance. Here we go. Baby, you can get it now. You can get it now. I know we're gonna say it together, right? If you got a red light, say it. Sing it. If you didn't know, I go by DJ Trife. That's Trife with a Y, not I. I like $1 million. What?
I like those Balenciaga.
The what?
The ones that look like socks. I like going to the Tula. I put rocks all in my watch. I like sexes from my exes when they want a second chance. I like proving niggas wrong. I do what they say I can't. They call me Cardi, Cardi, big body, spicy mommy. I Somali, out of than a Somali. Ferrari, hop up the scoop, jump at the coop. Big dip on top of the roof. Lifting no bitches as hard as I can. Eating halal, driving the land. So that bitch, I'm sorry though. Got my phone like Mario. Yeah, they call me Cardi B. Yo,
I like it like that. What you like? You say. We finna do it. What you saying? Do your work. To the what? To the what? Here we go. You know where we going? I think it's time for Sexy Red to make her debut. What else? You know what time it is? Do you know what time it is? We're gonna start it again. You ready? We're gonna start this way. Here we go. You gotta start slow first. You gotta start slow first. I need the whole stadium with me. I need everybody with me. Here we go, here we go. To the left. Y'all ready? Y'all ready? We need pure pandemonium when the beat drops. In 3, 2, 3, 2. What are you doing? I see you swagging. I see you surfing. It's starting to feel like a blue wave. Oh. Do I have any Victoria Monet fans here? Oh. You know, sometimes you gotta slow it down a little bit. I'm getting older. I can't be jumping up and down like that no more. You know, I'm a 90s baby. Y'all ready? Are you ready? Let's sing the song. Here we go. What you saying? They don't play slow jams in the club no more. Sing it to me. Sing it to Cola. Shout out to the women in the building. If it's your body, make some noise. You say. Wish you I look, verse 2. Cause what? You say. This is the last time. If you know you were beautiful, sing it with me. Cause what? Bow, bow, bow. Sing it with me. Bow, bow, bow. One more time. Bow, bow, bow. What you looking like? You said bow, bow, bow. Oh, I see you up there. Girl, mother. Oh, 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 oh. At the top of your lungs, tell me, get it sexy, cause I look good. Tell yourself, get it me, get it me. I got a question. Does anybody have the time about what time it is? It's about what time? It's about... What time is it? What time? What time is it? Help me out! Oh, I told you we was gonna warm this thing up real quick. You ready? You ready? Here we go. 3, 2, put your lights up in the air! It's 95 degrees. If he right here with me, turned up with my constituents. Y'all have been an amazing audience, but I feel like we gotta do it again. Can we go from the top? In 3, 2, 1, go! I'm about to show my... Sing it! I need to see these lights going crazy. Don't just hold them up, show them out. Here we go, yeah. If you already voted in early voting, make some noise. Do you know how crazy that is? We gonna throw some vote. Let's go for the top. Da-na-na-na-na-na. This is for my 2000s babies right now. This is for the first time voters right now. When I see you at the poll, baby, I'll be like, I see you. When I see you at the poll, I'll be like, I see you. Let's sing it.
I put your picture on my mirror. Start to blush when somebody says your name.
What else?
In my stomach there's a pain. See you walk in my direction, I go the other way. I start to stutter when I speak. Try to stand but my knees go weak.
What you say?
What's happening to me? In the dark, can you tell me what it means?
Clap your hands.
I lay my head on my pillow.
Clap 'em.
You're staring out the window. Wish on a star for a sign.
Sing it. When I see each and every one of you, thank you so much for partying with me tonight. I have been DJ Trife on the ones and twos. I'm at Mr. Trife, Mr. MRTRYFE on Instagram, all socials, on SoundCloud. I am a Texas resident. And I'm ready to vote for Kamala Harris for president. As a double Howard alum, I'm freaking ready. Love you guys, thank you so much. Are you ready for our new president? Are you ready for our vice president of the United States? Are you ready for Beyoncé? You.
o'clock, yeah, it's thick 30. I've been through a lot, but I'm still flirty. Is everybody back up in the building? It's been a minute, tell me how you're healing. Cause I'm about to get into my feelings. How you feeling? How you feel right now? Oh, I've been so down and under pressure. I'm way too fine to be distressed, yeah. Man or woman to pump me up. Feeling fussy, walking in my Balenciennes, trying to bring out the fat bit lust. Cause I give a fuck way too much. I'ma need like 2 shots in my cup. Wanna get up, wanna get down. That's how I feel right now. Oh, I've been so down and under pressure. I'm way too fine to be distressed, yeah. It's
Hey everybody, thank you all for joining. I know the music is good, so I'm not going to take it away from you. I'm going to pop in here for a few minutes while I have a captive audience here. I know that a lot of people have a lot of questions, so I figure I'll just answer questions for a few minutes while we await our main event tonight. We've got Kamala Harris, we've got Beyoncé. I think for real this time, I was one of the suckers at the DNC who was sitting there waiting for Beyoncé to show up on night 4, and she never showed up. So at this point, I think until I see Beyoncé on stage holding a newspaper with today's date on it, I don't know that I'll believe it, but if all the reporting is correct, which I think it is, then we should expect to see Beyoncé tonight. So with that said, throw some questions in the chat for me. I'll do my best to answer them right now and try to make the most of this time right here, and then I promise just a few minutes and we'll go back to some music. Also, make sure to tag my name in the chat so I can see it. And let me just say, it is nice that we get to listen to this kind of music as opposed to the only artist who haven't sent cease and desist to Donald Trump so far, which is Kid Rock and I don't know what artists are left besides Kid Rock that hasn't sent a cease and desist to Donald Trump. But it is nice that we get Beyoncé, Taylor Swift, Bruce Springsteen. Okay, my thoughts on the Washington Post. My thoughts on the news outlet whose motto is democracy dies in darkness, opting not to endorse in an election cycle where one candidate has already incited an insurrection and has promised to terminate the Constitution and be a dictator on day one. For this to be the election cycle that suddenly they've decided not to endorse is a testament to the rot, to the moral collapse that is happening in our media. It is why people are tuning into independent media. Look, if mainstream legacy media was able to navigate this moment with even a modicum of integrity, people like me wouldn't even exist. There would be no reason to listen to my channel. There would be no reason to listen to my commentary because they would be doing their jobs. But the fact that these people are so afraid of the prospect of Donald Trump becoming president, and so we best not rock the boat, because in the event that an authoritarian wins, we don't want him to try and sue us or chill our speech or end our subscription service. I don't even know what they think is going to happen to them. But in any case, clearly there is a pandering to Donald Trump happening, and there is also the fact that these outlets, Twitter, LA Times, Washington Post, which are owned by billionaires whose sole priority is kowtowing to and groveling at the feet of Donald Trump. Look, there is a problem with the billionaire class in this country and their desperation to align themselves with far-right zealots, demagogues, and autocrats. And I don't know that there's a way to fix it. I mean, at this point, it's becoming clear that as these people continue to consolidate wealth, to consolidate power, it makes the need for more independent outlets, for more independent voices, all the more important. But clearly, look, there is a trend, a pattern happening among the billionaire class in this country, whether it's Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, all of these people who exist to serve at the altar of Donald Trump. Why? Because he'll lower their taxes. That's all they care about. These people have more money than God, and yet still their sole priority is consolidating even more of their money. It is just insane. And by the way, should go to show, if all of these people are supporting Donald Trump, it should go to show right there what Donald Trump's agenda is, what his policy platform is. When you have all the billionaires in the country, with the exception of like Mark Cuban, but when you have all the billionaires in this country who are falling over themselves, even despite what Donald Trump says on a daily basis about about democracy, about echoing Hitler-esque rhetoric, everything he says. Despite all of that, these people are falling over themselves to endorse him and to back his campaign. That goes to show that what he will do in office is continue to heap more money, more tax cuts onto those people. If you needed any more of a clue that Donald Trump exists to serve them and they exist to serve him, it's the fact that all the billionaires are lining up behind him. This is not something that they're doing in a vacuum, right? They're doing it because they recognize he will help them. That is why they are falling over themselves to back this guy. They're not dumb. Well, some of them I would argue might be, but generally they're not dumb. They know what they're doing. And if they've decided that their priority is to back a candidate who will help them financially, then that's why they're backing Donald Trump. This isn't rocket science here. So those are my thoughts on the Washington Post. Look, I know that it's not the fault of the reporters, who are largely, I think, more than prepared to endorse, advocate for, and certainly vote for Kamala Harris. I would blame Jeff Bezos, and I think Will Lewis is the editor, I think, of the paper. But in any case, the moral collapse of the media in this country, where we have guys like Elon Musk, who is perhaps the largest purveyor of disinformation online, when you have a newspaper whose literal motto is "Democracy dies in darkness," that decided all of a sudden we're not going to endorse in the election cycle, where we have an insurrectionist sympathizer and inciter running against Kamala Harris, a prosecutor, is a joke, an absolute joke. And I'll stop talking about this because I'm going to start to curse, and there are kids watching. So, okay. Let's pick another question. Okay, I got a question. How is the ruling for ballots needing to be received by November 5th gonna work? What if they're postmarked prior to 11/5 and come after? So this is in relation to, or with regard to, the court case that was just handed down in the Fifth Circuit. This only applies to Mississippi, but my best piece of advice for all of you watching right now: do not wait to get your ballot in. Do not wait till the last minute, so that the USPS delays might impact your ability to have your vote counted. Get your ballot in immediately. There are two reasons for this. One is what I was just talking about, the fact that we don't want to put you in a position where you may be disenfranchised just by virtue of waiting longer. But the second is almost more important, and that is campaigns know whether or not you voted. And if you have voted, a campaign will know that. They don't know who you voted for, but they know if you've cast your ballot. They can then focus their resources on somebody else, a true undecided voter who actually needs the attention and the resources and the personnel to be reaching out to them, because those people might be choosing between going and voting or just staying at home and sitting on the couch. So if you have your ballot, if you know you're going to vote, do yourself a favor, make sure you're not disenfranchised, get that ballot in, but do the campaign a favor. Get yourself off that list so they don't have to worry about you, and they can focus their resources on people who actually need those resources, true undecided voters.
Beyonce's and Lucy Lou's and baby dolls, get on the floor. Get on the floor like a you know what to do.
For those just tuning in, we have not yet heard from Beyoncé or Kamala Harris. We are just getting started here. So if you are here to see Beyoncé and Kamala, don't leave. If you're in line, stay in line. You still got the whole show ahead of you, so don't go anywhere. Okay, here's my little public service announcement, because I know a lot of people here are probably worried about the polls. Let me know in the comments if you have a sense of kind of perpetual dread that just carries on throughout the day into the night, and then you go to sleep and you wake up and you have the same sense of dread, and you just feel that on a daily basis. If you're like me, you probably are dealing with perpetual dread. So let me know if that's something you're dealing with, because I have something to say about the state of the race as it stands right now. So here's what I would say about that. There is nothing that the polls can tell us right now that we don't already know, which is that the race is tied. We can, between today and November 5th, we can win this race, we can lose this race. It is going to be a matter of what we do moving forward. But what the polls are going to tell us, do not worry about the polls. When you see something, Kamala a point behind, 2 points behind, a half a point up, the fact is the polls can tell us one thing, and that is that every single race in every single battleground is within the margin of error. And so you're going to look at polls that are going to differ from yesterday to today. Donald Trump is going to gain half a point. Kamala is going to gain a third of a point. Trump is going to gain 2 points. It's all within the margin of error. So the only thing the polls can tell us right now is that it is going to be close. There is nothing else we can glean. Do not look at a poll and say, oh, well, Trump is up half a point today. That means he's going to win by half a point. Everything is within the margin of error. The polls are not going to be an exact determinator of what the election day vote is going to look like, or what the mail ballot vote is going to look like. So at this point, all you should take from the polls is that it's going to be close. The next thing you should do is know that we have agency here. It is not up to the parties to save us. It's not up to the candidates to save us, the courts, the judges, the prosecutors. We have agency here. Everybody has a responsibility to reach out to 1 or 2 or 3 people in your lives. Make sure that they go vote. I have people in my family who have never voted before. I have people in my family who just aged in. I have people in my family who have voted for Donald Trump before. Make those people your responsibility, because you're going to have a lot more persuasion with those people than someone like me will, or a mailer is going to have, or a TV ad is going to have, or a campaign is going to have. So you all have agency. Remember, Joe Biden beat Donald Trump in Wisconsin by 2 votes per precinct. That's all it took. 2 votes per precinct for the tipping point state. And so these races are going to be close. It's going to be another race that's determined by 10,000 votes or less in Georgia, in North Carolina, in Wisconsin, maybe even in Pennsylvania. So that's the most important thing to remember. Here's the thing. Here, let me assuage your fear this way. Joe Biden beat Donald Trump by 0.6 points in Wisconsin in 2020. The polling, if the polling was 100% correct, it would have shown Donald Trump and Joe Biden half a point away. Would that have made anybody feel good? Of course not. It would have filled you with existential dread. But Joe Biden won. All of which is to say, even if the polls are close, that does not mean we've lost, because the polls were close on Election Day in 2020, and we won. We won by 0.6 of a point in Wisconsin. We won by 0.3 of a point, or 0.2 of a point in Georgia. We won by a point in Pennsylvania. We won by 2 points in Michigan. So all of those polls, if they were 100% correct, we'd have looked at those the day before the election, those 100% polls, and said, damn, this feels terrible. You're telling me that we have to hope that Kamala Harris ekes it out by 0.2 of a point in Georgia? You're telling me we have to hope that Kamala Harris ekes it out by 0.6 of a point in Wisconsin, or Joe Biden in 2020? But the fact is that we had those close polls, and the Democrats won. And so close polling right now is not an indicator that we're going to lose, because it was close in 2020. What it's an indicator of is that we absolutely have a shot, and this is our race to win in the same way that it's ours to lose right now. So that means that we get fired up. We use some of our agency, make sure that we're going out to people and talking to our circles of people, making sure that people who are just aging into the process get registered, making sure that people who've not yet voted before get registered, people who are apathetic about politics have a plan to vote on Election Day, people who might have voted for Trump before and think that he's good on the economy, for example. Then you can go up to that person and say, look, Donald Trump's plan for the economy right now is just to smack everybody with tariffs, which is going to raise prices on every single American by thousands of dollars. Why? Because he's too proud to admit that he doesn't know what tariffs are, and so he's going to do it anyway because his ego is more important than Americans' wallets. If you have people in your life that say, well, look, I'm a young person, I want to be able to buy a house. Only one candidate has a plan to help people get into homes, and that's Kamala Harris, where she's offering $25,000 for first-time home buyers. Offering legislation, to sign legislation that would prevent these hedge funds from buying up all the real estate so that they can collude to keep the rental prices high. She's working on, she has a plan to allow for the building of 3 million homes, because when supply goes up, costs go down, or prices go down rather. And so on issue after issue, find the people in your lives, find what the issue is that most benefits them, most impacts them, and make sure that you educate those people on whatever it is. Reproductive rights, for example. For anybody who thinks, oh, well, Donald Trump's a New York playboy, he wouldn't ever ban abortion, he wouldn't sign a nationwide abortion ban. After all, he said he won't sign a nationwide abortion ban. You mean to tell me that the guy who has right now been bragging for the last 2 years that he overturned Roe isn't going to sign a nationwide abortion ban if and when a Republican Congress hands it to him on day one? Give me a break. You wouldn't brag about the fact that you have overturned one of the most popular pieces of legislation in America, the first rollback of rights in American history, rollback, first one in American history, if you weren't also planning on going all the way to pander to a base, especially considering he wouldn't be bound by the prospect of an upcoming election in 2028. This would be it. He'd be a lame duck president. He could do whatever he wants after that point. So find people in your circles, make sure that you talk to them on the issues that are most impactful for them. Remember that we have agency. Do not panic over the polls. Use that to inspire you to do something. I'm hosting a phone bank this weekend on Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. The link is on the community tab on my YouTube channel. Head over, sign up, phone bank with me. Make sure that we're doing something. Make sure you do something every day. I promise you, you will feel good if you spend a little bit of time reaching out to other people, talking to people. I promise you, if you have the ability to flip one voter who might not have been aware of what's happening right now, and you talk to them and you get them fired up and ready to go and activated for this election, I promise you there's no better feeling. I reach a lot of people on a daily basis. There's nothing better when I get an email from someone that says, I voted for Trump in 2020, listen to some of your content, and gonna vote for Kamala Harris in 2024. Or I never voted before, started watching some of your videos, and I'm gonna vote for Kamala this year. Like, those individual things are so impactful, and I promise everybody has the ability to be able to do that. So again, go to my YouTube channel, head over to the community tab. The most recent post that I posted is a link to a phone bank. So click, sign up, and be ready to phone bank with me this Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern. Okay, throw another question out there for me. Here's an interesting question. I got two questions here. The Cruz Allred race, is that race a popular vote or determined by Electoral College? Any statewide race, including U.S. Senate, is popular vote. So you just got to get more Texans to vote for Colin Allred than Ted Cruz. That's how that works in the states. Is it correct that early voter numbers are based on how people are registered? Yes, that is, as far as I know, so mail ballots, when they're being returned, are whether you're registered Democrat or Republican, which does not take into account, by the way, all of these Haley voters, for example, who we know are going to vote for Kamala Harris. So do not just look at the fact that, okay, in Nevada, for example, Republicans have an edge over Democrats for the early vote, whether it's in person and mail. The total early vote, Republicans have an edge, but that doesn't take into account two things. One, there are a lot of Republicans who are voting for Kamala Harris, and two, there are a lot of independents in that state. A third of the state is independents, and we don't know how their votes are going to break. So we do know, for example, based on this latest New York Times poll, that independents are breaking for Kamala Harris by a roughly 10-point margin. So if there are independents who are making up the majority or a sizable portion of the electorate with the votes that are coming in, just know that that doesn't mean that Republicans have this in the bag, because they might be eking out Democrats by 0.5%, because there might still be 30% of voters out there who are independents, and if they're breaking for Kamala Harris by a 10-point margin, then that still is good for Democrats. All right, let's get a little bit of a better feed here with some better. Okay. That's for the folks who noticed that the feed was only coming in one audio channel. Did Republicans vote early or mail in their primary, or is this a change? It looks like Republican voting habits are changing, and so we're seeing more Republicans vote early than they have in previous election cycles, which, by the way, is fine. It doesn't mean, if anything, if you see more Republicans voting, that should just inspire you, give you the kick in the ass that we need to redouble our efforts in any way that we can. So if you see that Republicans are voting in higher numbers and all of a sudden we're supposed to build up this firewall of Democratic votes, and we're not able to do that right now, then what can you do? How many people can you reach out to? Do you have anybody in your family who hasn't voted? Do you have anybody who lives in Nevada, Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Georgia, North Carolina, Arizona? So use that to, again, inspire you to do something. And it doesn't have to be everything. Look, I've done polls on my channel where I've asked how many people have been able to flip voters that they know on an individual basis, flip Trump voters to vote for Kamala, and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people have been able to.
Houston!
All right, so it looks like we're getting started here.
The energy in this room is incredible. I am so honored to be here.
One quick note for those who are watching, if you want to support my work in these live streams, please make sure to subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything to do so. I don't do paid ads or sponsorships. I don't put any of my content behind a paywall. All I'd ask that you do is hit the subscribe button if you're not yet subscribed. And this is Jessica Alba.
And I stand before you today because the stakes in this election could not be higher. Our rights, our freedoms, and democracy are on the line. My father was in the Air Force. I don't know if you know this about me, but I spent much of my childhood in Del Rio, Texas. I still miss a lot that Tex-Mex food. We have not figured it out in LA yet, let me tell you. But it was here in Texas that I learned the importance of looking out for your neighbors, lending a hand without hesitation, and treating people the way you would want to be treated. It's this Texas spirit of compassion, generosity, and unity, along with my strong Mexican-American family values, that shaped who I am today. Vice President Harris has spent her entire career embodying these same values. We all know we need the hopeful path laid out by Vice President Kamala Harris and Governor Tim Walz. A vision that unites us, protects our freedoms, and creates a brighter future, a more inclusive future for all. As a mother, I'm excited by VP Harris's new way forward, focused on uplifting families and the middle class. They will expand the child tax credit to provide a $6,000 tax cut to families with newborn children. Because they believe that no child in America should live in poverty. As an entrepreneur, I am inspired that as part of her opportunity economy agenda, Kamala is fighting to help small businesses and entrepreneurs innovate and grow by expanding the startup expense tax deduction for new businesses from $5,000 to $50,000. This will help entrepreneurs get their ideas off the ground. Imagine the difference this could make for all of us. And as a woman, I know we need a leader like Kamala Harris, who is dedicated to protecting reproductive freedom. Ensuring that decisions about your body are made by you, right? Never by the government, because Kamala Harris understands that protecting reproductive freedom isn't about politics. It's about our right to choose. And these are just a few of Kamala's policies and beliefs that will change so many lives for the better. Because going back is not an option. Kamala Harris doesn't just want Houston, Texas to survive. She wants y'all to thrive, okay? So let's hear it, Houston. We are not going back. We are not going back. Woo! Not going back. Not going back. Woo! Less than 2 weeks until Election Day, I'm counting on each and every one of you to spread the word and encourage everyone you know that is eligible to vote to get out there and vote. So Houston, let's do this. Please join me in electing Kamala Harris as the next president of the United States.
Let's get back to some questions here. We'll have intermittent speakers throughout the evening, so I'm going to try to make the most of this time. Answer some questions if you've got them.
I know they say be strong in the Lord, but it's taking God's strength. This is the hardest thing ever in life, to see you in this light.
Full on this.
You're looking at a mother that is broken.
How many more women would have to die? This is the result of what happens when you try to control a woman's body.
My daughter is gone because of what Donald Trump did. She would be here had they helped her. You denied my daughter.
When I looked in her eyes, she looked weak. She was in pain, she was hurting.
And she started saying, I want y'all to work together to take care of Messiah.
Kamala Harris will make sure not one more family goes through what we're going through now.
Amber Nicole Thurman.
My baby Amber.
My sister Amber had her
whole life
ahead of her. I believe that Kamala will stand for us all.
I'm Kamala Harris, and I approve this message.
Please welcome Dr. Todd Ivey.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dr. Todd Ivy, and I've been a practicing OBGYN in Houston, Texas for over 25 years. I want to acknowledge my colleagues here with me tonight who courageously continue the fight in Texas for reproductive freedom for our patients. You know, we became doctors to take care of people. And when Donald Trump's Supreme Court justices overturned Roe v. Wade and unleashed the extreme abortion bans across our country, I could not believe what was happening. I could not believe that basic, essential medical care would be criminalized. Yet, here we are. And today in Texas, because of Donald Trump, I could be thrown in prison for life for providing reproductive health care. And as a result, many of my patients with tragic pregnancy complications have been forced to flee our state to get the health care that they need and that they deserve. In that moment of a devastating diagnosis, what I want to do, what I need to do, and what I'm trained to do is to provide counseling and care for patients according to their wishes and their needs. But these laws are designed to handcuff me, literally. As a physician, I cannot describe the anguish of not being able to help my patients and the fear of spending the rest of my life behind bars. Each physician here with me tonight has multiple agonizing stories to tell, and some of them involve their own pregnancies. We all know how devastating Trump's abortion bans are for patients' health and lives. Data have shown that since our state enacted these abortion bans, maternal mortality has worsened. To put it bluntly, women are unnecessarily becoming ill and dying. Nationwide, I think someone needs some medical assistance over here. Did they get someone? Are they getting someone? Okay, great. So nationwide, medical assistants? They're good? So nationwide, nearly 7 in 10 OBGYNs say that abortion bans have worsened their ability to manage pregnancy-related emergencies. And here in Texas, 3 in 4 OBGYNs have said they simply can no longer practice evidence-based medicine. This is a healthcare crisis. Tens of thousands of Texas women traveled out of state for abortion care last year, leaving their jobs, leaving their homes, and leaving their families just to get medical care. This is unacceptable. And this is cruel. I was shocked when Roe was overturned, but I've never been more shocked to hear Donald Trump continue to brag about it and to call these extreme abortion bans, like the one in our state, something, quote, beautiful to watch. As a physician on the front lines in Texas, I'll tell you, what's happening here is not beautiful. It's devastating, and we must stop it. So let me be clear about one thing. There is no place for Donald Trump in my exam room. And that's why I am proud to be supporting Vice President Harris. One year ago, I was honored to sit beside her for a conversation on the cruelty of these Trump abortion bans. She hasn't stopped fighting for reproductive freedom for a moment since. And I know that as president, she will continue to fight to restore reproductive health care access for women in all 50 states. So this November, health care is on the ballot in all 50 states. We need to vote like our lives depend on it. Because they do. And because our patients' lives depend on it too. Thank you. Go vote.
There was a brief moment where these doctors were on stage and there was a medical emergency, and I was like, if only somebody knew where there was a doctor that could help these people. Okay, so a lot of people are just joining right now. We've got not much longer here until Kamala Harris and Beyoncé take the stage tonight. I do not think that we're going to deal with the same thing that we did day 4 of the DNC, where everybody said that Beyoncé was going to show up. Here's how convinced I was that Beyoncé was going to show up on day 4 of the DNC. I was so certain that it was going to happen. I literally shot an entire video about how great it was that Beyoncé had just shown up at the DNC, and all I needed was some footage to like filter into the video, and I shot it, got it edited, ready to go, and she just never showed up. Night just ended, and it was Kamala on stage as last person, and I was like, yeah, I probably shouldn't have listened to every rumor that I heard. So, in any case, I do think Beyoncé, with that said, I'm going to listen to this one, and all of the reporting is pretty clear that Beyoncé will be there tonight, so I think that we are okay on that front. If any...
alone on a planet with a monster. I was 12 when he impregnated me.
She's really compelling.
I just remember thinking, I have to get out of my skin. I can't be me right now. Like, this can't be it. I didn't know what to do. I was a child. I didn't know what it meant to be pregnant at all. But I had options. Because Donald Trump overturned Roe v. Wade, girls and women all over the country have lost the right to choose, even for rape or incest. Donald Trump did this. He took away our freedom.
I'm Kamala Harris, and I approve this message.
By the way, it looks like the attendance for this event is well past 20,000 here. So this may very well be the biggest rally that Kamala Harris has hosted thus far.
Oh my goodness. My name is Yesenia Gomez Gamboa. I was born and raised in Tucson, Arizona. And first of all, I want to thank you, Texas, for this amazing welcome. I know it's not for me, but it's still amazing. Thank you so much. So tonight, really quickly, I'm just here to tell you a little bit about my story. In October of 2021, 2 weeks after my husband left for deployment, I actually found out I was 4 weeks pregnant. But very quickly, we figured out that there was something wrong. And after 3 weeks of medical tests, blood tests, ultrasounds, and everything in between, my doctor told me that I had an ectopic pregnancy at 7 weeks. My ectopic pregnancy was in my left fallopian tube, and if left untreated, it could burst and lead me to need emergency surgery. But luckily, I was able to go into the hospital the next day and get a methotrexate shot and began to heal. However, few months later, 6 or 7 months later, the Supreme Court that was hand-picked by Donald Trump overruled Roe v. Wade. Access to a safe and quick abortion was what saved my life and preserved my fertility, and now those very same protections were gone. It unleashed cruel abortion bans across the country, and we began to read about women in Texas, in Alabama, in other states with ectopic pregnancies just like mine that were denied emergency abortion care. And that is unacceptable. Now, that was 3 years ago, almost to the day actually. And my husband and I are on our second round of IVF. And if anybody in the crowd has ever gone through IVF, you know just how bloated and how tired I am right now. But I am still here today, no matter how tired, no matter how sore, because we need to fight for the rights of women everywhere to make decisions over their bodies. Earlier this year, my husband and I watched in horror as the Alabama Supreme Court made a decision that put IVF in danger in the state. My heart goes out to those families because I know what they're going through. And now, I am going through it myself, especially because Donald Trump's GOP policies and reluctance to protect IVF is going to put it at risk for families in 50 states. And that is not something that we will allow to happen. But Texas, tonight we can turn the page and we can continue to make our voices heard. Vice President Harris is a fighter, and she will work tirelessly to protect our families and our futures. So for the next 11 days, it is our turn to show up for her. Knock on doors, speak to every family member out there. Have the awkward conversations and leave it all in the field because our lives and our futures depend on it. I trust women to make decisions over their own bodies, and I trust Texas women to tell men like Ted Cruz, J.D. Vance, and Donald Trump that they are done. Their turn is over. This November, we will all come together and make our voices heard and elect Kamala Harris as the next President of the United States. Thank you and good night.
Working 5 to 9 and 9 to 5. Then it's dreams to want to shatter. You just step on the boss man ladder. You got dreams you never take away.
Never take away.
You're on the table with the valuable friends.
I gotta let you know something that just happened over at the Trump rally. So Donald Trump is hosting a rally in Michigan right now. He is currently an hour late. There are thousands of fans waiting for him in Michigan. He just broadcast a video into the arena saying that because he was with Joe Rogan, he is now en route and he'll be there in 2 hours. He will be 3 hours late to his own rally in Michigan tonight. And so, of course, his fans are now pouring out of the rally to head home in Michigan because Donald Trump has so much disdain for his own supporters that he sent them there waiting for him because he was supposed to show up at whatever time he was supposed to show up, and instead decided to show up 3 hours later and expect the rubes who are standing there in the cold to just keep waiting for him because that's what they will always do. There is nobody in politics today, nobody in America today who shows more contempt, more disdain for their own supporters than Donald Trump. Whether he's making them wait out in the cold, whether he's sending them back like he did at the Coachella rally with no transportation to walk through the desert several miles, whether he is hawking bullshit products like Bibles and coins and crypto and trading cards and shoes, hats, constitutions, pieces of his suit. Donald Trump views his supporters as nothing more than a piggy bank that he could turn over and shake out so he can get all the money out of them that he wants. I mean, my goodness. And he's putting that on full display right here. I hope that these people see that. I hope that for even one of those people that are waiting at that rally, that gives them some indication about the extent to which Donald Trump does not care about them. Okay, it looks like we have Willie Nelson here.
Mama, don't let them babies grow up to be cowboys. Don't let them pick guitars, drive them old trucks. Make them be doctors, lawyers. Mama, grow up to be cowboys. They'll never stay home, they're always alone. Even with someone they love. Cowboys ain't easy to love, and they're harder to hold. They'd rather give you a song than diamonds and gold. Lone Star belt buckles, old faded Levi's, and each night begins a new day. And if you don't understand him and he don't die young, he'll probably just ride away. Mama, don't let your babies to be cowboys. Don't let them pick guitars, drive them old trucks. Make them be doctors and lawyers and such. Mama! They'll never stay home, they're always alone, even with someone they love. Cowboys like smoky old pool rooms and clear mountain mornings. Little warm puppies, the children and girls of the night. Them that don't know him won't like him, and them that do sometimes won't know how to take it. He ain't wrong, he's just different. His pride won't let him do things to make you think he's right. Mama! Don't let them pick guitars, drive them old trucks. Make them be doctors, lawyers, and such. Mama! They'll never stay home and they're always alone, even with someone they love. Thank y'all very much. On the road again. I can't wait to get on the road again. The life I love is making music with my friends. I can't wait to get on the road again. On the road again. Going places that I've never been. seeing things that I may never see again. I can't wait to get on the road again, everybody say. On the road again. Like a band of gypsies, we go down the highway. We're the best of friends, insisting that the world keep turning our way. Our way. I hear you. Just can't wait to get on the road again. The life I love is making music with my friends. I can't wait to get on the road again. Big finish. I can't wait to get on the road again. Thank you all very much. Thank you.
Shifting sand, room for everyone, living in the promised land. So they came from the distant isle, nameless woman, faithless child, like a bad dream. Until there was no room at home, no place to run, and no place to fall. Give us your daily bread. We have no shoes to wear, no place to call our home, only this cross to bear. We are the multitudes, lend us a helping hand. Is there no love anymore, living in the promised land?
just need you guys to know that right now you've got poor Doug Burgum on stage at the Trump rally where Donald Trump just announced that he's still 2 hours away from a rally that was supposed to start an hour ago. You've got Doug Burgum trying to tell people in 49-degree weather, trying to entertain people in 49-degree weather while Donald Trump is on his private jet where he was hanging out with Joe Rogan for the whole night, and these suckers are in the crowd. So compare that to the feeling, the vibes we're getting here out of Texas. It's quite the stark contrast between a candidate who actually cares about her supporters versus one who could not care less about his. That's just a little update in terms of how Trump supporters are doing out there in Traverse County, Michigan. Pretty sad. Pretty sad, and yet completely predictable from a guy who has basically viewed his supporters as little more than piggy banks to dump all of their money into his bank account by way of overpriced watches and, again, Bibles and constitutions and shoes and crypto and coins and $2 bills and any other shit that he could find that he could slap his name on as part of his shitty licensing deals. Which follows a long pattern of a lifetime of shitty licensing deals, whether it's Trump Wine, Trump Water, Trump Steaks, Trump Airlines, Trump the Game, Trump University, which had to pay out $25 million because it was such a fraud, or the Trump Organization, that's currently $500 million in the hole right now because of money that it owes because they were engaging in fraudulent activity. The notion that anybody would look at Donald Trump and think that it's a virtue to vote for this guy because he's a businessman has ignored every single instance of business that he's actually engaged in. Because all of it, every single licensing deal, every single venture that he's engaged on has ended in disaster or bankruptcy. There's a reason that Trump Airlines doesn't exist anymore. There's a reason that we're not drinking Trump water or Trump wine or eating Trump steaks. It's because all of it was a fraud. It was only there in existence so long as he could fool enough people, and then it went belly up like everything else that he does. Anyway, these people are faring much better than the folks who were suckered into attending his rally in Michigan.
First of all, I'm the one that got rid of Roe v. Wade.
Do you believe in punishment for abortion? Yes or no, as a principle?
The answer is that there has to be some form of punishment.
For the woman?
Yeah, there has to be some form.
What do you think when you see that? Like, I honestly feel sick to my stomach right now. Well, of course I blame Trump for what happened to me. He's bragging about doing it. He's bragging about overturning Roe v. Wade, which nearly killed me.
He doesn't care or know what's actually happening to normal people.
And it's hard to ignore that he thinks I should be punished for receiving health care, yet he shouldn't be held responsible for his own actions. That's terrifying to think that he might be president again.
I'm Kamala Harris, and I approve this message.
Run fast for your mother, run fast for your father, run for your children, for your sisters and brothers. Leave all your love and your lonely behind. You can't carry it with you if you want to survive. The dark days are over, the dark days are done.
Hi, Houston. My name is Amanda Zaroski.
And I'm Josh Zaroski.
We live in Austin.
Let's hear it, Austin. Amanda and I met in preschool. We're from the same small town. We had a moment in high school, and then we reconnected as adults. Ever since, we've been partners in crime. We decided we wanted to start our family, and so after 18 months of grueling fertility treatments, in the spring of 2022, we were thrilled to find out that she was pregnant with our first baby, a girl. We were over the moon.
My first trimester was smooth sailing, but suddenly at 18 weeks, I suffered complications. We were with 100% certainty going to lose our baby girl. We were devastated. What I needed at that point was an abortion so that I could safely and with dignity deliver our daughter and begin the healing process.
But this was post-Roe, Texas. The near total abortion ban had gone into effect just 2 days after Amanda's water broke. Ending the pregnancy would have been a legal abortion under the Texas ban. Our doctor risked losing her license and even faced jail time.
So I was told to wait to seek care until I got so sick that my life was considered in danger. Only then would my case fall under one of the rare exceptions where a doctor can intervene in our state of Texas.
For 3 long days, we begged for someone to help. But the help never came due to Texas's oppressive, inhumane abortion laws. Eventually, Amanda's temperature spiked. She was shaking and disoriented. We rushed to the emergency room, and by this time, Amanda had developed an infection which had become septic.
I was finally close enough to death to deserve health care in Texas. After stabilizing my vitals enough to deliver our baby, Willow, I crashed again with another bout of sepsis, and I was transferred to the ICU. Our family flew in from across the country for fear that I wouldn't make it through the night. It was in that dark and lonely hospital room that I realized I was actually lucky. I lived. Others have not.
It is unthinkable to me that anyone could cheer on the cruel abortion bans that nearly took Amanda's life. But that's exactly what Donald Trump and Ted Cruz have done. That's right. That is right. And adding to this cruelty, Trump has said that there should be some sort of punishment for women who have an abortion. Women just like Amanda.
What's just as scary is that Donald Trump's allies have detailed plans on how Trump would ban abortion in all 50 states without the help of Congress. That means that what Josh and I went through could be the reality facing Americans and families in this country if he gets back into power.
I want to tell every last voter, including each and every man out there, that this is our fight too. The decision about, that's right. And the decision about if and when to start a family should be ours to make, not Donald Trump's, not Ted Cruz's. That's why we need to elect Vice President Harris, Representative Colin Allred, and Democrats up and down the ballot to restore our reproductive freedom.
There's been so many things that's held us down, but now it looks like things are finally
Hey Houston, how you doing? Hey, let's give it up for Amanda and Josh. You know, it shouldn't be lost on us that they were just up here telling their own personal story of what they've gone through here in this state. And I want to thank Vice President Harris for coming to Texas and for shining a light on what's happening to Texas families and Texas women. Thank you, Amanda and Josh. Listen, I'm Congressman Colin Allred, and with y'all's help, and God's grace, we're going to beat Ted Cruz. That's right. You know, that's right. You hear that, Ted? You hear that? Let's go, Texas. All right. Now, y'all know, I believe in a very different Texas than Ted Cruz does. Because I was raised by a single mother who's a public school teacher, and we don't pay our teachers enough. We don't pay them enough. And so I relied on my community, on my teachers and my coaches, folks who went above and beyond for me. They poured themselves into me. It's because of them I became captain of the football team at Baylor, was a linebacker in the NFL, became a civil rights lawyer, and have served us in Congress for the last 6 years. And you know what? In my time in Congress, I've been the exact opposite of Ted Cruz. Because I never forgot where I came from. I never forgot the folks who gave me a chance. I've been the most bipartisan Texan in Congress because that's how you get things done. That's what we elect people to do. Because I know there are heroes out here right now who dropped their kids off at school, who went to work maybe for 1 or 2 jobs like my mom used to do. And I know you're hoping that your elected officials are working as hard as you are. But Ted Cruz has been all about himself for too long. Too long. 12 years is long enough. And I don't know if y'all saw the debate the other night. Yeah? There's one thing I know for sure after that debate. It's that everything is bigger in Texas, but Ted Cruz is too small for Texas. He's too small. He's too small for Texas. You know what small people do? Is when you lose an election, you think, you know what, I'm gonna try and overturn that election. I know many of y'all probably know where you were on January 6th. I know where I was. I was on the House floor doing my job. I remember when they locked all the doors. We barred the doors the president walks through to deliver the State of the Union with furniture that we usually use to hold paper. I texted my wife, Allie, who was 7 months pregnant with our son, Cameron, "Whatever happens, I love you." Because we're the only former NFL linebacker in the room, and there's a mob at the door. Everybody's like, "What you gonna do, Colin?" And I went to public school in Texas. I'm not just gonna sit there. So I took off my suit jacket, and I was prepared to defend the House floor from that mob. That's what happened. At the same time, after he'd gone around the country lying about the election, after he'd been the objector to the results in Arizona, Ted Cruz was hiding in a supply closet. That's okay. That's okay. I don't want him to get hurt by the mob. The point is, there shouldn't have been a mob. There shouldn't have been one. And if you summon one, and then you run for United States Senate, you gotta lose your job. That's what you gotta do. And he's too small for Texas, because when 30 million Texans were relying on him, when the lights went out, he decided to go to Cancun. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? If your neighbor needed help in a crisis, you would go check on them. Can you imagine having the privilege and the responsibility of representing our great state, and a crisis hits our state, and you think, I need to go check out the Ritz-Carlton in Cancun? You wouldn't do it. I'll tell you what, if you did, and you ran for office again, you gotta lose your job. That's what's gotta happen. All right. And you know what? If you are singularly responsible for taking away a fundamental freedom from Texas women because you think you know better than Texas women and their families and their doctors, and you put in place this abortion ban, and you celebrate this abortion ban, you introduce at the national level 5 times a nationwide abortion ban, then you have to lose your job. Texas women, for all the Texas families, for all the Texas families. You know, Allie and I have been blessed with 2 healthy babies in Dallas in the last 5 years. I can't imagine if at one of our appointments, the doctor would come in and says, a problem with the baby, or with my wife, but there's nothing I can do because Ted Cruz thinks he knows better. That's not who we are. There's one thing I know about us as Texans, and I'm a 4th generation Texan. It's that we believe in freedom. And this is not it. So here's what we're gonna do. Here's what we're gonna do, Texas. In 10 days, we're gonna beat Ted Cruz. In 10 days. And when we do, we're gonna make Roe v. Wade the law of the land again. No more of this. That's right. Ted Cruz. For all the Texas families, for all the families who are looking for a senator who's looking out for them, I will never abandon you when you need me most. I will protect your fundamental rights. I will bring us together around our shared values. I'll remind us that we have more in common than what divides us. We might have come here on different ships, but we're in the same boat now. We're all Texans. We're all Americans. We have to have a leader who understands that. And so here's what we gotta do, Texas. We got 10 days to knock on doors, make phone calls. We gotta make sure Kamala Harris is the next president of the United States. We gotta make sure we send Ted Cruz packing. And when we do, It won't be a win for me or for a party. It'll be a win for our state. Are y'all ready? You fired up? You ready to go? All right, let's do it, Texas. God bless you, and may God bless the great state of Texas.
Some noise one more time. It's starting to feel like a family affair in here. Ooh, 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 ooh.
Who are just tuning in, we still have Beyoncé showing up tonight. We have Kamala Harris showing up tonight. Huge rally. Of course, we had Colin Allred, who was just on stage there, who is in a neck-and-neck race against Ted Cruz. If you live in Texas, if you know anybody who lives in Texas, any contacts at all in Texas, it is not that Texas is a red state, it is a non-voting state, but Texas could be a blue state if enough people come out to vote for him. That margin in these Senate races has been shrinking more and more, even in the presidential races, shrinking more and more every year. It certainly doesn't help that Ted Cruz is the smarmiest member of Congress that there is, U.S. Senator that there is, and Colin Allred is a good dude. I just interviewed him a couple of weeks back. He is in it for the right reasons, and would be obviously a major boon to the U.S. Senate. There's always also one race that surprises everybody. If it could be Colin Allred upsetting Ted Cruz, that would be, again, the upset of the century, I think, to be able to get rid of Ted Cruz in the U.S. Senate. So, again, if you have anybody who lives in Texas, that you know, that votes in Texas, a student there, whatever it is, whatever the rules are, please make sure that they have a plan to vote, if they have their ballots, to return them. And that they do whatever they have to do to get Ted Cruz out of the U.S. Senate so we can spend more time doing what he truly loves doing, which is 3 episodes of his podcast per week, when he's not, of course, skipping town to go to the Ritz-Carlton in Cancun with his family before ultimately blaming it all on his daughter. Real stand-up guy. I think that's what they call an alpha, right? Guy who skips town so he doesn't have to help his constituents before blaming it on his teenage daughter. That's one of those real men that Republicans beat their chests about. Quick note for people watching, if you'd like to support this live stream, I don't do paid ads, I don't do sponsorships, I don't put any of my content behind a paywall, but the best way, the only way to support my work is just to subscribe to this channel. Completely free. It's a great way to follow more live streams like this one, as well as breaking news videos that I do, interviews that I do, my legal series, my voting rights series. So if you'd like to follow along, especially as we head into Election Day, where I have a full day and night of coverage planned for that Tuesday, as well as all of the subsequent days after that. I have a really big plan for Election Day, so please make sure to subscribe to be able to follow along. Also, I'd mentioned this before, but isn't it nice to have a concert where you can actually play good music as opposed to, a rally where you can actually play good music as opposed to not being able to play any good songs or any songs that aren't sung by Kid Rock, basically, because you keep getting hit with cease and desist from every artist under the sun. I think Donald Trump has been hit with cease and desists from everyone from Celine Dion to Beyoncé to Linkin Park. I have a list of everybody who's hit Donald Trump with a cease and desist. I know that I can find it. Oh, Leonard Cohen just recently His estate just recently gave him one because he had Hallelujah sung by Rufus Wainwright. He got a cease and desist for that. There is a long list of people who gave Donald Trump cease and desists. For those just tuning in, we still have Kamala Harris coming up. We still have Beyoncé coming up. So big night ahead. If you are watching and you want to see these people, please make sure to continue watching. If you are in line, stay in line. And while I have you, my quick public service announcement. If you have your ballot already, if you have the ability to vote early, go vote. Get it in immediately. There is a reason. It's not just so that, doesn't make a difference. We can either get it in now or we can get it in later. Two things. One, you don't want to do anything that's going to risk your ballot not being counted or risk you being disenfranchised because you leave it up to the USPS and a ballot gets there late. Don't do anything to risk having your voice silenced. Number two, the campaigns know if you voted. They don't know who you voted for, but they know if you've submitted your ballot. Once you do, they don't have to focus on you anymore. They can focus on true undecided voters. So knowing that the campaigns have limited resources, limited personnel, limited money, do them a favor and let them not focus on you anymore, but instead focus on those true undecided voters who may actually be deciding between actually showing up at the ballot or just sitting on the couch. Get your ballot in so they don't have to worry about you anymore. That's my PSA. If you have your ballot sitting on the table near the front door, which I know a lot of you watching do, make sure to get it filled out tonight. If you need help filling it out, you can go to votesaveamerica.com. That's what I use to get all the info in terms of how to fill out my ballot. So get it done. Help build this firewall that Democrats need as we head into November 5th. Make sure there's no issues with your ballot being counted. If you have a way to track your ballot, do it. And of course, make yourself responsible for at least one person in your life who wouldn't have otherwise voted, who hasn't voted before, who's choosing between not voting at all, might be a former Trump voter. Make one person in your life your responsibility as we head into this election.
laws continue, it will cost more lives.
Please welcome Andrea Cummings.
Thank you. Before I can even start, on behalf of myself, my husband, and my family, I have to thank you all for the embracing support that you have given me. Good evening. My name is Andrea, and I live in San Antonio, Texas. In the fall of 2022, after many prayers, my husband and I found out that we were expecting. Everything changed when my water broke one evening, far too early into my pregnancy. After going to the ER and my OBGYN and learning that my pregnancy was not viable, I was given no options, despite being at high risk for infection. Because of Texas extreme laws, I was told I had to wait, which I did in the hospital for days. My baby girl, Emery Jade, was born 5 days after my water broke. She lived only for a few minutes, but I hold my baby close to my heart as my husband, mother, and I sang her to sleep. And when Emery's heart stopped, we continued to embrace her and held her for hours as she lay lifeless. It was immediately after Emery was born and the hospital discharged me that I felt severe pain. Eventually, I found myself in the ER, fearing for my life, where my reality soon changed. I was diagnosed with sepsis and sent into a 6-hour emergency surgery. I endured a partial lung collapse, 2 liters of infected fluid removed from my abdomen, and an incision that ran from under my breast to my pelvic area, which has left a deep scar. I was hospitalized for 3 weeks. My body was overwhelmingly consumed with infection. I nearly lost my life. I remember praying, God, just allow me to be peaceful when I go. After my discharge from the hospital, I required around-the-clock care for 3 months. My mother fed me, bathed me, and even helped assist me in the bathroom while I slowly recovered. Today is the first time I'm sharing my story. It's taken many months of physical and emotional healing to get where I am today. I have come forward so people can learn from my experience and the experiences of other women who have been impacted by these laws. Texas abortion bans unleashed by Donald Trump almost cost me my life and have left me with physical and emotional scars. I'm here to advocate for the women who are unable to share their truths, for the many Black and brown women whose pain is often dismissed and disregarded, for the women like Amber Thurman who have lost their lives under Donald Trump's abortion bans. I never thought I would have this type of personal experience. If it can happen to me, it can happen to anyone. The same people who create these laws should ask themselves, what if it was their loved one? For all the mothers, daughters, granddaughters, there has to be change. Kamala Harris is that change. She is fighting to restore the rights of women that were so wrongly taken away. This election, I proudly cast my vote for Kamala Harris. Because lives depend on it, and I urge you all to do the same. Now, I'm incredibly honored to introduce to the stage Arthur, philanthropist, proud mother, activist, and H-Town's very own Miss Tina Knowles.
You can see what's going on. Yeah, what's going on? Tell me what's going on. I'll tell you what's going on. Right on. Right on.
My God. My heart is so full, guys. This is what you call Houston proud. 30,000 people? Oh my God. Houston, you showed up, you showed out, and that's what I'm talking about. Thank you, Andrea, for courageously sharing your story. I am honored to be back in Houston tonight, the city where my girls got their voices. I've been so blessed in my life to have many careers, many black jobs. But I have said before, the best job that I've ever had is being a mother. I've had the privilege of raising and helping to raise 4 daughters. And I also take immense pride in being Mama Tina to so many young women and men. It has been empowering for me. You know, the teleprompter, I'm having a hard time seeing it, guys. I'm just being real here. So it's been powerful to encourage young people and to be there for them as well as my own children. You know, I have always believed that I was raising my girls in a world that with every passing generation was becoming freer for women. With more opportunity for women, a healthier and safer existence for women. And so we cannot accept a country where our daughters and former generations and future granddaughters will no longer have the basic freedom that I have lived with for most of my life. But just as our generation and generations before us did, we will fight for our freedom. Yes. And as I look behind, I also know in order to move forward, we must move with purpose. So I say a prayer that is infused with the strength, faith, and courage of those who came before us. We cannot go backwards, guys. Too many people have died for us to have our freedom. I know in my soul that all those past moments have led us to a time like this. We've got to show up and do our part. And that is why I am here. I am so honored to be here in support of Kamala Harris. And I am also so proud to be here with two of my daughters. Please welcome Kelly and Beyoncé.
Charlie, how your angels get down like that? Girl, I didn't know you could get down like that. Charlie, how your angels get down like that? Tell me how you feel about this. Do it all in the power of another. I worked hard and sacrificed to get what I get. Ladies, it ain't easy being independent. Question, how'd you like this knowledge that I brought? Bragging on the cash that he gave you was the fun. If you're gonna brag me, show it your money is fun. You know no one is to give you what you want. Shoes on my feet.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome to my Houston family. I am so proud to be here back in Houston with my mama T and my sister. Welcome to this day, this remarkable, this joyous day. A date, a day, a time, a moment with weight and meaning for our country, for our people, and for the world. A moment, Houston, where we grab back the pen from those who are trying to write an American story of division and hatred. A moment when we grab back the pen from those who are trying to write an American story of misogyny and racism. We are grabbing back the pen from those who are trying to write an American story that would deny the right for women to make our own decisions about our bodies. Houston, we are grabbing back the pen. We are grabbing back the pen, that pen, to forge a new path with Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. We are grabbing back the pen to write a new American story, a story of community, of equality, strength, of kindness, and of hope. When I was a little girl and I pledged allegiance to the United States of America, that meant something to me. That flag meant something to me. And today, that means grabbing that pen and casting my vote, as I already did 2 days ago, for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. Now, Houston, you've already had a hand in creating destiny. So do what you do and do this thing again. H-Town. We are so happy to be standing here on this stage as proud country Texas women supporting and celebrating the one and only Vice President Kamala Harris. A woman who's been pushing for what this country really needs right now, unity. It's impossible not to feel the energy in this room, the positivity, the community, the humanity. We are at the precipice of an incredible shift, the brink of history. I'm not here as a celebrity. I'm not here as a politician. I'm here as a mother. A mother who cares deeply about the world my children and all of our children live in. A world where we have the freedom to control our bodies. A world where we're not divided. Our past, our present, our future merge to meet us here. Imagine our daughters growing up seeing what's possible with no ceilings, no limitations. Imagine our grandmothers. Imagine what they feel right now. Those who have lived to see this historic day. Even those who are no longer physically with us. Imagine all of their sacrifice. The sacrifices made so we can witness the strength of a woman standing in her power, reimagining what leadership is. For all the men and women in this room and watching around the country, we need you. Your voice has power and magnitude. Your vote is one of the most valuable tools, and we need you. Your freedom is your God-given right, your human right. Everybody say Texas. Texas plays a pivotal role to change the course of our future. Texans and Houstonians from 3rd Ward, River Oaks, Sugarland, 5th Ward, A-Leaf, Memorial, Southwest Side, North Side, all the way down to Mo City. We all have a role to play to make this a reality. We're all part of something much bigger. We must vote. And we need you. It's time to sing a new song. A song that began 248 years ago. The old notes of downfall, discord, despair no longer resonate. Our generations of loved ones before us are whispering a prophecy, a quest, a calling, an anthem. Our moment right now, it's time for America to sing a new song. Our voices sing a chorus of unity. They sing a song of dignity and opportunity. Are y'all ready to add your voice to the new American song? Because I am. So let's do this, ladies and gentlemen. Please give a big, loud Texas welcome to the next President of the United States, Vice President Kamala Harris.
Keep on running, cause the winner don't quit on themselves. I'ma wade through the waters till the tide don't move.
Kelly and Beyoncé! Hey, Texas! Oh, it's good to be back in Texas. Thank you all. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you for being here this evening. Can we hear it from Miss Tina Knowles? For Miss Kelly? And Beyoncé? What a warm Texas welcome. I thank you all so very much. And I thank you, and I thank my friends for reminding us of exactly what we are fighting for in this campaign. We are fighting for freedom. 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 And to Andrea and everyone here tonight whose lives have been impacted by these Trump abortion bans in this moment, I thank you for sharing your stories and for your courage. It is an honor to be here with so many leaders and all of you who have taken the time out of your busy lives to be here this evening so we can, as a community of people, as people who love our country, be clear, sound strong, and stand in favor of the freedom of every woman to make decisions about her own body. I also want to thank the members of Congress who are here, including Colin Allred. I'm counting on you to send him to the United States Senate so we can get right to work. And to all the elected officials and community leaders, I thank you all. I thank you. See you later. See you later. And we have a lot of work to do, and we will not get distracted. We will not get distracted. So listen, Texas, we have 11 days left in one of the most consequential elections of our lifetime. Voting has already started, and we know this will be a tight race until the very end. Okay. So here's the thing. Okay, so we got work to do. We got work to do. We got work to do. And I love that there is so much enthusiasm, but let's talk about the work we've got to do. Okay. Because we've got 11 days to see this through, and we will win. We will win. We will win. And we will win, and we will win because we know and understand what is at stake. We are 11 days out from an election that will decide the future of America, including the freedom of every woman to make decisions about her own body and her reproductive freedom. And everyone here tonight is here because we are about fighting for our future and not letting some people take us back. Because we are not going back. We are not going back. We are not going back. And in America, we know freedom is not to be given, it It is not to be bestowed. It is ours by right, and we are prepared to fight for it. Because we understand the stakes, and moving forward, we understand that what we must do, Texas is right here. You who are ground zero in the fight for reproductive freedom, we must be loud, we must organize, we must mobilize, we must energize the people. Because you all know, Texas is home to one of the most restrictive abortion bans in our country. In Texas, abortion is banned from the moment of conception. You know what? Just send them to that small rally down the street. It'll be fine. Some people don't have a great sense of direction, but that's okay. We'll show them the way. We'll show them the way. Because we know what's at stake and we will not be silenced. We know what's happening here in Texas. Doctors and nurses could go to prison for life simply for providing reproductive care. Think about that. Life in prison for healthcare providers for doing what they think is in their patients' best interests. You know what? The beauty of our campaign is we're fighting for democracy. And what we know here in Texas is that there are some who would distract from the fact that Texas has a law now that offers a cash bounty for turning in someone who merely helps a friend or a family member get the care they need. In Texas, the law provides for prison for life for healthcare providers for doing what they believe is in the best interest of their patient. In some counties in Texas, they have passed travel bans to prevent women from going to other states to receive care. These are the stakes. And we know how we got here. When Donald Trump was president, he hand-selected 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention that they would undo the protections of Roe v. Wade. And as he intended, they did. And now more than 20 states have a Trump abortion ban. Now 1 in 3 American women lives in a state with a Trump abortion ban, including Texas and every state in the South except for Virginia. And many of these bans are causing care to be denied until a woman is at death's door. Many have no exceptions even for rape and incest, which is immoral. And let us agree, one does not have to abandon their faith or deeply held beliefs to agree the government should not be telling her what to do with her body. Not the government. If she chooses, she will talk with her priest, her pastor, her rabbi, her imam, but not the government and some people up in the state legislature telling her what's in her best interest when she knows what's in her own best interest. And let us recognize these same people, check this out, these same people who have argued that these Trump abortion bans are in the best interest of women and children, do look at their records. They tend to be in states with the highest rate of maternal mortality in the country. For decades, these extremist leaders who have neglected prenatal care, maternity care, and postpartum care, and who now, after continuously failing to support women and children, claim to care about women and children. Well, I have a question for them. Where you been? Where you been? Where you been? been when it comes to prioritizing care for women and children? Where have you been when it comes to helping pregnant women and new mothers? Where have you been when it comes to affordable child care? And do note, many of these same extremist leaders have also refused to extend the child tax credit, which lifted half of America's children out of poverty. They, who have blocked proposals to lower child care costs for working parents, they who have tried to cut WIC and SNAP for low-income mothers and their children. The hypocrisy abounds. And here's what else is happening. These bans are driving doctors out of states like Texas, Idaho, Georgia, and North Carolina, leaving women who are already living in maternity care deserts, meaning there is no maternity care anywhere near them, leaving them with even fewer options. And since Trump abortion bans, fewer medical students are choosing to specialize in women's health. Over these past 2 years, the impact of Trump abortion bans has been devastating. We see the horrific reality that women and families face every single day, and the stories are vivid, they are difficult to hear, they are difficult to tell. For example, here in Texas, can we roll the tape?
For 54 years, they were trying to get Roe v. Wade terminated, and I did it.
As someone who watched his wife almost bleed to death because of conservative implemented laws,
I had to fight and beg to get care that I needed.
Because I wasn't permitted to have an abortion, I nearly died on their watch.
If I had not been able to go out of state to get an abortion in Colorado, my happy, healthy son, Henry, would not be here today.
They took 2 liters of infected fluid from my abdomen, and the infection was so severe that I almost died.
I was to stay pregnant and deliver a baby that would suffocate in my arms.
On the Roe v. Wade, I did a great thing.
From his own mouth, a great thing. There is nothing great about what happened to women like Kate Cox, who was heartbroken to learn her much wanted pregnancy was not viable, heartbroken when her doctors told her if she remained pregnant, she would be risking her own life or her ability to have children in the future. But the Attorney General of Texas threatened if Kate's doctors helped terminate her pregnancy, they would be criminally prosecuted. So Kate was forced to flee the state to get the care she needed. In Louisiana, Caitlin Joshua was turned away from not 1, but 2 emergency rooms while miscarrying. She was bleeding. She was in pain. But because of a Trump abortion ban, doctors would not treat her. Because if they did, they would have faced 15 years in prison. And so Caitlin had to go home where she went through the pain of a miscarriage for more than a month, and trying the whole time to hide her pain from her 4-year-old daughter. We know that women have died because of Trump abortion bans. Here today is Shanette Williams, the mother of Amber Nicole Thurman, a vibrant, we must speak her name, Amber Nicole Thurman. I promised her mother I would speak her name. A vibrant 28-year-old mother of a 6-year-old son who died a preventable death because of Georgia's abortion ban. Now, Shanette and her family are courageously sharing Amber's story to make sure we all remember her as more than a statistic, so that we remember Amber was a daughter, a sister, a mother, and that she was loved, and that she should be alive today. And listen, we're all here because we know the reality is, for every story we hear about the suffering because of a Trump abortion ban, there are so many stories we've never heard, an untold number of women and the people who love them who are silently suffering, women who are being made to feel as though they did something wrong, as though they are criminals, as though they are alone. And to those women I say, and I think I speak on behalf of all of us, we see you and we are here with you. Texas, what is happening across this state and our country is a healthcare crisis. And Donald Trump is the architect of it. He brags about overturning Roe v. Wade. In his own words, quote, "I did it and I'm proud to have done it." That's what he says. And one has to ask, proud that women are dying? Proud that doctors and nurses could be thrown in prison for life for administering life-saving care? Proud that young women in America today have fewer rights than their mothers and grandmothers? How dare he? Donald Trump even said everyone wanted Roe v. Wade to be overturned. Well, a woman in Ohio was arrested and charged after having a miscarriage. So was a woman in South Carolina. They didn't want this. Hadley Duvall, who became pregnant after being raped by her stepfather when she was 12 years old. She didn't want this. Ryan Hamilton, who is here tonight, his wife was denied treatment at the hospital for a miscarriage. They got home, he found her bleeding and unconscious. He dressed her, put her in a car, packed up their 9-month-old child, and drove to a different emergency room where doctors told them she could have died. Ryan didn't want this. Let's be clear. And the men across America, this needs to be said, men across America do not want to see their daughters and wives and sisters and mothers put at risk because their rights have been taken. I see the men here, and I thank you. The men of America don't want this. And now the Attorney General of Texas is suing the United States government so that Texas prosecutors can check this out, so that Texas prosecutors can get their hands on private medical records of women who leave the state to get care. Now, I'd ask everybody here, please do see the irony, okay? Listen to this. On the one hand, Donald Trump won't let anyone see his medical records. I gave up mine. And on the other hand, they want to get their hands on your medical records. Simply put, they are out of their mind. In just 4 years as president, Donald Trump was able to erase half a century of hard-fought progress for women. And now he wants to go even further. He will force all 50 states to track and report on women's miscarriages and abortions, and go after access to contraception and IVF treatment. It's right there in his Project 2025. Google it. And let us be clear, if Donald Trump wins again, he will ban abortion nationwide. And though we are in Texas tonight, I say it to the folks who might be watching from home, for anyone watching from another state, know this: if you think you are protected from Trump abortion bans because you live in Michigan or Pennsylvania or Nevada or New York or California, or any state where voters or legislators have protected reproductive freedom, please know, no one is protected if there is a Trump national abortion ban, and it will outlaw abortion in every single state. Understand that. And he can do it with or without an act of Congress. All that to say, elections matter. Elections matter. If Donald Trump is president again, he will likely get to appoint at least one additional Supreme Court justice. Remember who we appointed. Call her Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson. But if he were reelected, he'd probably get to appoint one, if not two, members to the United States Supreme Court, at which point Donald Trump will have packed the court with 5 out of 9 justices on that court who will sit, but think about that, who will sit for lifetime appointments, shaping your lives and the lives of generations to come. And that is among the many critical contrasts in this election. Look, Donald Trump doesn't trust women, but I do. We trust women, and we understand what's at stake. And with Colin Allred in the United States Senate, when Congress passes a bill to restore reproductive freedom, I will proudly sign it into law as President of the United States. Proudly. Proudly. So to all the friends here, let us remember, momentum is on our side. I know sometimes in Texas, folks are like, is it worth it? Does it make a difference? Yes, it does. You are making a difference, and momentum is on our side. You are making a difference. Since Roe was overturned, every time reproductive freedom has been on the ballot, from Kansas to California to Kentucky, in Michigan, Montana, Vermont, and Ohio, the people of America have voted for freedom every time it's been on the ballot. And often they have voted by overwhelming margins from so-called red to so-called blue states, proving this is not a partisan issue. Because Americans from all backgrounds and beliefs understand the decision of whether, when, and how to build a family is one of the most consequential decisions anyone can make. And we are fighting for an America where no matter who you are, where you live, you can make decisions about your own body for yourself. So moving forward, all of this is to say, reproductive freedom is on the ballot in this presidential election. And in 10 states around the country, including Arizona, Florida, and Nevada. And with the work of everyone here, freedom will win. Freedom will win. And so I want to take a moment to speak in particular to all the young leaders here and across America. Do we have anybody here from Gen Z? Where you at? I'm counting on you, because the thing I love about you is you are impatient for change. You know it ain't right that you may have fewer rights than your mother or your grandmother. You know it is not theoretical. You know it is not political. It is your lived experience. And I see you, and I see your power. I see your power. And I know so many of you are voting for the first time. Can I see a raise of hands? Can we applaud our leaders who are voting for the first time? All right, we heard it for our young leaders. years, that's right. So listen, to everyone here, we know freedom has never come easy. Never come easy. There has been no moment of our progress as a country that did not come about without a fight. Let's all be clear about that. And we are in the midst of a movement, and everyone here is a leader in that movement. So we do this then remembering those who came before us, those who struggled and sacrificed for our freedoms, who found fellowship and even joy in one another in the fight. They found strength and hope in fighting for our ideals. And that is what we are doing. That is what we are doing because we know weeping may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning. So Texas, election day is in 11 days. Early voting has already begun. So now it is time to start making your plan. Go to iwillvote.com to get all the information you need. And it is not only the presidency that is on the ballot. There are many important races, including Colin Allred running for Senate, who we must note his opponent supported a national abortion ban 6 times. An opponent who said he does not support exceptions even for victims of rape and incest. So let's remember, Texas, your vote is your voice, and your voice is your power. So today I ask you, are you ready to make your voices heard? Do we trust women? Do we believe in reproductive freedom? Do we believe in the promise of America? And are we ready to fight for it? And when we fight, we win. God bless you and God bless America.
Keep on running, cause the winner don't quit on themselves.
Okay. Huge rally by Kamala Harris tonight. This was the most attended rally of the entire campaign. We had 30,000 people in attendance. Yesterday's rally in Atlanta, Georgia had previously broken the record. There was 23,000 people in attendance in Atlanta. Today, obviously, far exceeded that. 30,000 people in attendance to see Kamala Harris, Beyoncé, Willie Nelson, a whole raft of other people here. Colin Allred. So a huge rally tonight, hugely successful in the state of Texas. So just wanted to use this opportunity while I have so many people here. I know that the number one issue that we are facing right now is worry, anxiety about the polls. So here's my spiel here about the polls. I know that we're all looking at them and seeing Donald Trump up by half a point, up by a point, even up by 2 points in certain places. Here's the deal with the polls. What we can tell by them is that they are tied. They are showing us that it's a tied race. Everything right now is within the margin of error. Because you see Donald Trump up half a point somewhere does not mean that he is going to win this race by half a point somewhere. Because you see him up by 1.5 points doesn't mean he's going to win this race by 1.5 points. What it means at this point is simply that these races are within the margin of error in the polls. That is what the polls can tell us. They cannot get any more specific than that. Every election cycle, we already know that there's a margin of error in the polls. We don't know how big it's going to be. We don't know how much they've compensated for previous polls. We don't know whether it's weighted more to Democrats or Republicans. But what we do know is that this race is close. This race is effectively tied in Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, North Carolina, Georgia, Nevada, Arizona. All 7 battleground states, it is tied. So let me put it this way that I think will assuage a lot of fears, a lot of concerns. And we'll go a little bit bigger here. A lot of concerns here. So we'll pause this. In 2020, Joe Biden won the state of Georgia by 0.2 of a point. If the polls were 100% accurate, that would have shown Joe Biden leading Donald Trump by 0.2 points. If you had looked at that in 2020, would you have felt good? Would you have felt reassured looking at a poll where Joe Biden was leading by 0.2 of a point in Georgia? Would you have felt reassured by looking at a poll where Joe Biden was leading by 0.6 of a point in Wisconsin, which was the margin of victory for Joe Biden in Wisconsin? Would you have felt assured if you saw that Joe Biden's leading by a point in Pennsylvania or by 2 points in Michigan? Would any of those numbers have reassured you? Of course not. They would have left you in a state of despair, very much like the state of despair that I'm sure a lot of people are in right now. But the fact remains that Joe Biden won the state of Georgia by 0.2 of a point in 2020. He won the state of Wisconsin by 0.6 of a point in 2020. He won the state of Pennsylvania by a point in 2020. He won the state of Michigan by a little over 2 points in 2020. All of which is to say, close polls do not automatically mean that we need to fret or despair or be anxious over this stuff, because we've had close results before and we've won before. What they show us, what the lesson that we should take out of it, is that we have work to do. That this race right now is ours to lose in the same way that it's ours to win, which means we all have agency that we need to exercise here. This isn't just a matter of finding leaving it up to the campaigns to go find people to vote, not a matter of leaving it up to the courts to go do what they do, the prosecutors to do what they do. We have to exercise our own agency here. We need to use the power that we have to find people in our circles that we can persuade to vote. I guarantee if everybody watching this live stream right now, we've got 50,000 live viewers, everybody finds one or two people who wouldn't have voted, who just aged in to the voting process, who maybe voted for Trump last cycle and are soft on him, who are choosing between showing up at all or just sitting on the couch, or even who have a ballot on their front table right now and are deciding whether it's even worth it to turn it in. All of us have the ability to make one or two people in our lives our responsibility as we head into this next election, as we head into these final 10 days here. So that is going to be the most important thing that we need to look out for. That is the most important thing that we have the ability to do here. And I want to make sure that we're using this time as effectively as possible. So again, find one or two or three people in your lives who wouldn't have voted, who just aged in, who are choosing between Trump and Kamala Harris, and make those people your responsibility, because nobody else is going to swoop in and save us. And the same way that we have these polls where we're seeing that it's, just a few tenths of a point separating these two candidates, the difference here, the way that we're going to be able to win these races by 0.2 of a point, or 0.6 of a point, or 1 point, or 2.5 points, is if we all find those people, make them our responsibility, and turn them out to vote. Is if we donate to these campaigns in these final few days. Is if we engage in phone banking and text banking and canvassing. If we knock on doors and make our neighbors our responsibility. I'm hosting a phone bank on Sunday. You can sign up for it Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern. You can go to the community tab on my YouTube channel and join me for a phone bank. This way we can call voters to make sure that they all have a plan to vote. Another thing that we can all do, I know a lot of people right here have a ballot maybe sitting on their front table that they're just waiting to return. I know a lot of people have the ability to go tomorrow, for example, to go vote early. Take these opportunities. Look, the campaigns know whether or not you voted. They don't know who you voted for, but they know if you voted. So if you have the opportunity to do that, get your ballot in, get it done. This way the campaign doesn't have to worry about you anymore, and they can focus their limited resources on the people who are actually undecided in this race. There are those people out there, but if you don't return your ballot because you know you're going to vote anyway, but you just haven't gotten around to it, get it in. Make it your responsibility. Make it your priority. because right now the campaign is sharing time between people who are true undecided voters and you, because they don't know if you're a true undecided voter or not, because they're still waiting for your ballot. They're still waiting for you to cast your vote early, in person. Whatever you plan to do it, get it done, make it your priority tomorrow, so that these campaigns can then use that money that they spent so much effort trying to get, all those text messages that they sent to you to get money, all those emails they sent to you to get money, and all that time that you spent donating your hard-earned dollars. Now make those dollars go as far as they possibly can by getting your ballot in, so that they can use that money to focus on people who are truly undecided. So that is my whole, that's the whole thing here on what we can do in terms of the polls. Do not despair by looking at these polls. Let the fact that they're close, and they are close, and it is a tied race, it's a tied race in every state, let that energize you. Let that inspire you to figure out what you can do to help get one more person to vote. And again, it can be somebody that you know that's in your own circle. It can be somebody that you've never met before that you're going to contact through phone banking or text banking or knocking on doors with campaigns. But make sure that you do something. The last thing that you want to do is look back 2 weeks from today and know that there was more that you could do, but you opted not to because you felt that, the campaigns probably have it, or some other volunteer group probably had it, or volunteers or whatever it was had it. But the fact is that we all have agency here. It's our country just as much as it's these campaigns' country. So make sure that we are doing what we need to do to really make these final 2 weeks worth it. The last thing that I would say before we end it for tonight, and I would just ask real quick for those who are watching this right now, if you want to support my work, I don't ever put my content behind a paywall. I never will. But the best way to support my work is to subscribe to this channel. So if you're not yet subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. Completely free to do it. It's a great way to support my work. Last thing I want to do. I know that a lot of people have been asking, okay, I have family or friends who might have been who maybe voted for Trump in 2016, maybe voted for Trump in 2020, or maybe haven't voted at all, just aged into the process, just got into politics and still don't know who to vote for. How do I persuade them? The fact is that it's not a one-size-fits-all approach. So ask them. Let them tell you what their most important issue is. If it's climate, for example, there's only one candidate who's focused on making sure that the climate is habitable, and that is not the guy, for example, who offered carte blanche to fossil fuel companies in exchange for $1 billion and basically selling our climate down the river so that he can have help in this campaign. It's Kamala Harris, who will build on the work that she's done with the Biden administration, where they have issued record investments into climate. Maybe it's the economy, though. That's most likely what it's going to be. Look, when you compare these two economies, first of all, Donald Trump left office with the weakest economy in modern American history. He lost 3 million jobs. He had a 6.3% unemployment rate, and the economy saw a net 3.4% contraction. That means the economy shrunk 3.5%. Right now, Kamala Harris and Joe Biden are overseeing an economy where 16 million jobs are added, including 800,000 manufacturing jobs. The unemployment rate is at a 50-year low. The stock market is at a record high, and I think we've hit something like 45 to 50 record highs on the S&P 500 just this year alone. And of course, the U.S. economy as a whole is the strongest in the entire world right now. So any way you cut it, any metric that you're looking at, the economy is stronger now. But you can say, okay, well, the grocery prices were cheaper when Donald Trump was in office. Okay, so let's take that issue, for example. Grocery prices are cheaper when Trump was in office. Right now, we know that food manufacturers, food retailers are raking in record profits, and they've done so by hiding behind inflation. So they see global inflation. They say, we have the opportunity right now to raise prices, to rake in record profits, and no one will be any the wiser because everybody's prices are high. But we know that they've hid behind inflation and they've price gouged, because you can't lie when profits come in, because these are publicly traded companies. And so their profits are reported. We see that the profits are the highest they've ever been. All the while, they were claiming that they were just simply raising prices because all of their costs went up. But that wasn't the case, because their costs are down low enough that they are raking in record profits. So now it becomes a question of what the two candidates are going to do. And we heard both Donald Trump and Kamala Harris address the issue of high food prices. Kamala Harris came in and said, I will support a bill, I will sign into law a bill that holds price gougers to account, that makes it illegal to gouge prices, especially for food retailers. Meanwhile, what did Donald Trump say? Donald Trump said the reason that we have high food prices is because of Kamala Harris. And so think about what that does. If he's not willing to actually acknowledge who is responsible for raising the prices, then he's not going to do anything to hold those people to account. He is telling you that because he wants to use this issue of high food prices as a wedge issue to benefit himself politically, that in effect, he is giving cover to the very people who are responsible for raising the prices, the very people who are gouging you, the very people who are raking in record profits right now on the back under this pretense of inflation. He's going to protect those people because he's just that beholden to having a wedge issue, having an issue that he could blame on Kamala Harris. And so God knows that he will do nothing about record high prices, food prices, because he is not focusing on them right now. Right now we will know. Right now we have the opportunity to know what the candidates are actually going to do. Kamala Harris said that she's rightly acknowledging who's responsible for record high prices in food. Donald Trump isn't. He's still blaming it on Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. He'll blame anything on a Democrat, in effect giving cover to the people actually perpetuating this criminal behavior. So that's the difference between these two candidates right here. And you want to talk about other economic issues. Take, for example, the fact that if you want to buy a home, who's going to help you? The guy who has no plan for housing, or Kamala Harris who's offering $25,000 for first-time home buyers so that you can actually finally build intergenerational wealth. The issue of housing is one of the most important issues for young people. It's an issue that nobody talks about, including Joe Biden never talked about it. Democrats or Republicans, nobody's addressed this issue of housing. Kamala Harris has a full plan, which includes $25,000 for first-time home buyers, which includes building 3 million homes, because when you increase supply, prices come down. Increase supply, demand goes down, prices come down with it. That is why it's so important to build housing as well. And finally, to hold these hedge funds accountable when they buy up all the supply and they collude together to keep the rent prices high. All of these are factors that are keeping housing completely out of reach for so many young people in this country, and only one candidate has an actual plan to fix it. What about small businesses? Well, Biden and Harris are already responsible for the most small business applications in American history right now under this term. She has a goal in the first 2 years of her term to increase that number to another 25 million small business applications in this country, including raising the negligible $5,000 break that small business gets to $25,000 now as a tax break, as a tax incentive to start a small business in this country. $50,000, up from $5,000. So it goes from a negligible $5,000 to start a small business in this country to a $50,000 tax break to start a small business in this country. So look, on issue after issue, especially with regard to the economy, there are so many reasons why there is only one candidate who's actually taking this seriously. And look, it's not Donald Trump. It is not the guy who has spent most of his time doing just where he could be talking about actual issues. He goes to McDonald's, for example, has a prime opportunity to say, look, I'm here. This is a tough job. People are busting their asses in these drive-thrus for 8 hours a day. I support a living wage for these workers. Couldn't even bring himself to do that. All he said is, we're glad we have franchises. Even then, even while he is cosplaying as a low-wage worker, he still can't bring himself but to heap praise onto the very people who are exploiting the workers by not paying them enough. Can't even bring himself to say that we need the minimum wage, which has been the same since 2009, $7.25, which I think is $19,000 a year. Let's see that guy try to survive on $19,000 a year. Let's see him try to survive on double, triple, quadruple that number. He couldn't. And yet he views that number as perfectly acceptable for the people who he wants to subjugate to those wages by virtue of refusing to put any political capital behind it. This guy had the opportunity to show that he was actually going to back up the populist campaign that he ran in 2016. And yet, what did he do with his political capital? Did he pass a middle-class tax cut? Did he oversee a jobs boom? Did he pass the infrastructure law that he was bragging about? Did he pass that healthcare plan that was going to be both more comprehensive and less expensive? He didn't do any of it. He passed a tax cut for millionaires and billionaires. That's it. When push came to shove, what he used his political capital on was nothing that he promised his supporters. It was a tax cut for the ultra-wealthy. That's it. All the while patting himself on the back as if he's some hero because he gave billionaires in this country the lowest tax rate that we've had in modern American history. How does that help regular Americans. What did that do to our revenues? It dried them up, and those revenues are what's used to fund programs, which often go to working class and lower class Americans. So he, again, took money out of everybody's pockets so that he can heap more money onto the wealthy like him. This person's campaign is in service of one type of people, one narrow swath of people, and that is the ultra-wealthy in this country. He does not care about low-income folks in this country. He doesn't care about the middle class in this country. Think about what he said right after he passed his his ultra-wealthy tax cut. He said, if you elect Republicans in the midterms, we'll get a middle-class tax cut. Think about that for a second. Why would Donald Trump need to pass a middle-class tax cut if his initial tax cut already helped the middle class? It is a tacit admission that it didn't. And so that's why he had to just keep dangling that carrot. He's never actually going to do anything for the middle class, never actually going to do anything for the working class, but God knows he will keep dangling it like a carrot so these suckers can keep running after it in hopes that eventually he'll help them. Eventually, the wealth will trickle down to them. You want to know why the economy is so bad for so many people in this country? Because we have been engaged in a 60-year experiment by Republicans where they keep telling you that if you heap wealth onto the ultra-wealthy in this country, that it'll trickle down to the poor. It hasn't done it since 1980. And in fact, income inequality has continued to explode in this country ever since then. We are 60 years into this failed experiment, 45 years into this failed experiment where Republicans continue to push this idea, this bogus notion of trickle-down economics. All it is branding that hides the fact that Republicans' priority for my entire lifetime has always been just to help the ultra-wealthy. That's it. We should not be satisfied with the crumbs that Republicans allow us to have while they heap wealth onto the richest Americans in this country, while income inequality continues to explode in this country. And we certainly shouldn't believe that the guy who has spent the entirety of this campaign hawking licensing deal bullshit to his supporters is going to be the person to swoop in as their savior. If you care about people in this country, you don't spend your entire campaign hawking $60 Bibles to them. You don't spend your campaign hawking $400 sneakers to them. You don't spend your campaign hawking $100,000 watches to them. Donald Trump views his supporters not as people, but as bank accounts, as piggy banks, to be turned over and emptied out so that that money can go into his pockets. He is not looking out for you. He's not looking out for any Americans, certainly not looking out for working class Americans. He is looking out for himself, and he's done this entire time only to make sure that he gets a financial benefit from all of this. And he's doing it up until the very last day of this campaign. This guy is a walking scam on 2 feet, a failed licensing deal on 2 feet. And the notion that he's going to be some savior for the middle class is not only undermined by the fact that he never did it when he actually had the political capital as president the first time, but the fact that he continues, even now, to spend all of his time on the campaign trail, just manipulating his marks. I know that Republicans love to claim that Donald Trump's enemy here is the Democrats. The target, the enemy, as far as Republicans are concerned, are Donald Trump's supporters. They're the ones at the receiving end of Donald Trump's of his scams. Those are the people who are targets for the Trump campaign. Trump campaign doesn't hate the Democrats because the Democrats aren't buying any of his shit. The people who should really hate the Trump campaign are the people who have been subjected to the scams on a daily basis, whether it's crypto, $2 bills, gold coins, $20 sneakers that he's hawking for $400, watches that were made for probably a few $1,000s that he's spending $100,000 on. This whole thing has been a scam from day one. From day one. All the while, Donald Trump pretends that the reason that people don't have money in this country is because of immigrants or because of poor people. He says that you don't have money because poor people are taking Social Security or Medicare, Medicaid, or welfare. I'll tell you what, there is nobody in this country is poor because somebody is getting poverty wages from the U.S. government. All the while, Donald Trump heaps more money and more money and more money onto the ultra-wealthy in this country. Donald Trump's whole scheme here has been convincing people making $70,000, $80,000, $90,000, $100,000 a year that people making $19,000 a year are the problem in order to give cover to the people making millions of dollars per year. This is class warfare. Donald Trump knows that he can pit the middle class against the lower class and give all that cover to the upper class because those are the people who are his priority. Those are the people who he's there to serve. Donald Trump hasn't done a single thing to help working class people. And meanwhile, you look with the same margin that Republicans had in the House from 2017 to 2019, look what Democrats were able to do from 2019 to 2021. No, what year is it? Whatever year it is right now. Look, with the same margin that Republicans had, look what Democrats were able to do. Pass the Inflation Reduction Act, pass the infrastructure law, pass the gun safety law, pass the American Rescue Plan, pass the bipartisan, I said infrastructure law, pass the Inflation Reduction Act, pass the, what am I missing here? American Rescue Plan, Inflation Reduction Act, Gun Safety Law, Infrastructure Law, the PACT Act, the CHIPS Act. That's been responsible for 800,000 manufacturing jobs. It's been responsible for getting all of these clean energy jobs back to the U.S. Republicans love to complain about China, fearmonger about the Communist Party of China, and yet by entrenching their reliance on fossil fuels, guess where all of the clean energy jobs go? Guess who we cede all of those jobs to? China gets them, which means China gets control of the future. And so Republicans, out of one side of their mouth, fearmonger about China, and out of the other side of their mouth, say that we have to entrench fossil fuels, which is a dying industry, which we all know is going away, but they are so focused on squeezing every last dollar out of the campaign donations from ExxonMobil and BP, and so they entrench our reliance on these fossil fuels. All the while, what do you think China's doing? They have an exploding clean energy manufacturing sector. Because we've ceded that ground to them, because Republicans are not allowing us to get into the 21st century. And then when China owns the future, what are Republicans going to say then? Oh, they're going to blame it on Joe Biden. They're going to blame it on Kamala Harris. They're going to blame it on Nancy Pelosi, because it's never their fault. Right now, we are in this moment where we have the opportunity to own the future or cede it to China. Republicans have this opportunity too. Find me a single Republican that has advocated for clean energy, knowing full well that that's the future. Republicans love to say, oh, well, China's producing all of the solar panels, so we can't buy the solar panels here because China's producing them all. Why do you think China's producing them all? Because when we had the opportunity to move those industries here, when they were burgeoning industries, when we had the opportunity to have them right here in the U.S., what did we do? We entrenched our reliance on fossil fuels because that's what Republicans were focused on, because they wanted to get their money from the ExxonMobils of the world. They wanted to get their money from the BPs of the world, from the Chevrons of the world. Those are the people who fund Republican campaigns, and in exchange for that funding, they entrench our reliance on that dirty energy. All the while, the rest of the world is going to be sprinting ahead of us on the only industry that matters. The fastest growing sector on the entire planet, clean energy manufacturing. But Republicans are so focused on the next election cycle, on entrenching power for themselves, on consolidating their spots in office, that they couldn't dare look 5 inches in front of their face and figure out what's best for the United States, for our national security, for our economy, for our planet, because they are so focused on keeping their job. These people do not care about anything other than power for themselves. They are here to consolidate power for themselves. They are not looking to add jobs. Find me a single Republican administration in the last 3 decades that's created more jobs than a Democratic administration. Find me a single Republican administration in the last 3 decades that's left office with a lower unemployment rate than a Democratic administration. Find me a single Republican administration in the last 3 decades that's left office with a stronger economy than a Democratic administration. Trick question, it doesn't exist. In my entire lifetime, I have never been alive to watch a Republican administration perform better on jobs, on the unemployment rate, or on the economy than the Democrats. And yet they lean on this branding and they beat their chest as these responsible stewards of the economy. What metrics do they have to point to? They lean on their branding as the states' rights party. And yet, what was the first thing to happen at the hands of Lindsey Graham after Roe was overturned? Lindsey Graham introduced the nationwide abortion ban. What was the first thing to happen in 2020 when Texas filed its lawsuit trying to overturn the election results in 4 other states because they didn't like the results there? Half the country's attorneys general, all Republicans, signed on to that lawsuit. These defenders of states' rights decided that Texas should be able to overturn the election results in 4 sovereign states because they didn't like how those people voted. But sure, this is the party of states' rights. Party of family values. Don't get me started. These people are falling off a cliff right now, sprinting behind a guy, having hitched their wagons to a guy who was just hit with 34 felony convictions for a case involving hush money payouts to for an affair that he had while his wife was at home with their infant son. This is a guy who has 26 accusations of sexual assault against him. This is the Family Values Party? Give me a break. How many guys like Roy Moore do you have to line up behind before you realize that maybe Republicans don't exactly have the monopoly on family values that they claim to have? Maybe it's all just a little bit of projection. So look, all of that is to say, for those who have been involved in this political process for years, who understand the danger of Donald Trump, who understand the moment that we're in, you look at what happened today with the Los Angeles Times and with the Washington Post, and how these outlets that we had otherwise trusted to protect our democracy, or at a bare minimum to speak out when autocrats and dictators and authoritarians were knocking at our doorstep, and they've abdicated that responsibility by refusing to do the bare minimum. And you have a newspaper like the Washington Post, whose motto is "Democracy dies in darkness," and yet refuses to endorse in an election cycle where one candidate incited an insurrection at the U.S. Capitol and has promised to terminate the Constitution and to be a dictator on day one. In a cycle where they've refused to endorse a candidate now, goes to show that the media is not here to save us. We know after watching the Supreme Court and how they've conferred onto Donald Trump all of these non-existent benefits that they claim the Constitution gives him, like this idea of presidential immunity that was created out of whole cloth. We know that the courts aren't here to save us. We know, by the way, that Merrick Garland has dragged his feet, that prosecutors aren't here to save us. The fact is that right now, as it stands, with about 10 days to go until the election, that we have to do our part and exhibit some agency and reach out to our circles of people. And I know that as you sit here, me telling people, find one or two people in your circles doesn't feel like a lot, but look, I've been able to reach millions of people per day and saying the same message over and over and over again. If I'm able to reach 1 million people and tell them the same thing, and they all find one person or two people or three people, that's enough to swing these elections in these margins. The margins in our elections are not tens of millions of people. They're not millions of people. They're not hundreds of thousands of people. In a lot of instances, I don't even expect them to be tens of thousands of people. I expect them to be thousands. In 2020, Joe Biden beat Donald Trump in Wisconsin, which was the tipping point state, by 2 votes per precinct. The notion that we don't have agency and that agency isn't enough to swing elections is a complete abdication of reality. It's a complete denial of reality, because it's absolutely true. And so I know that if everybody watching this was able to find 1 or 2 people in your circles of people who weren't going to vote, who were probably deferring to the couch over going to the polling place, that would be enough to swing these elections. We do not want to look back and see an election where Donald Trump beats Kamala Harris by 500 votes in Pennsylvania, or 500 votes in Wisconsin, or 1,000 votes in Michigan. We have enough people who are engaged in this process. We have enough people who have enough connections in this process that we can make a big difference. Again, as I said earlier, I'm going to be hosting a phone bank on Sunday. Head over to my YouTube channel, go to the community tab, and it's the first post on my community tab. You can sign up for the phone bank there. It's going to be over Zoom, and we have the opportunity there to reach people. And it doesn't have to be me. There are 1 million different organizations and groups and campaigns right now that are hosting phone banking, text banking, canvassing. Go talk to people. Go knock on some doors. Donate what you can, if you can, in these final days. That makes a difference. But most importantly, the thing that I'm focused on right now is using your relationships with individual people, finding 1 or 2 people who weren't going to plan on voting or who might be voting for Trump. And we just went over a whole list. Whether it's the climate, whether it's the economy, and of course, whether it's reproductive health care. Whatever the issue is, Democrats stand on the right side of this issue as far as the vast majority of Americans are concerned. So use that information and try to appeal to the people in your lives. I know that if I ask people in the comments right now to give me instances where they've spoken to people and they've flipped people who were going to vote for Donald Trump and are now voting for Kamala Harris, it would fill up the comments. Go ahead, write them in here right now. I've asked this question before, and I've had a half hour of comments of people saying, I convinced, somebody who had never voted before to vote for Kamala Harris. I helped get 2 people registered in my family who had never voted before, and they voted for Kamala Harris. I helped flip my dad, who was a Trump supporter. Now he's voting for Kamala Harris. I got 4 people in my family. I got neighbors. I have coworkers. And this way we can look at the comments and see that there is a community of people, and that while 1 or 2 people might not feel like a lot, that eventually those numbers add up. And this sense of community is important, because that is exactly what we need to recognize that together these numbers really do add up, and they could be the difference in some of these swing states, which, as we know based on polling, is tied. It's as simple as that. Don't look at the polls to make you feel better or complacent. Don't look at the polls so that you'll despair, because it's not going to lead to anything useful. Just look at the polls to know one thing. The race is tied. It is our race to win, just as it's our race to lose. So right now we have the opportunity to have an impact in this election. We have spent so long talking about how much of a shitty person Donald Trump is, how dangerous he is, how it would be difficult to get our democracy back if we have the misfortune of seeing him win this election 10 days from now. So make sure that we are not complaining about it 10 days from now or 11 days from now, but rather that we are using our time while we still have the opportunity to make sure that we get the election results that we want. And already, I'm looking at the comments already and seeing people say, got my dad to vote, got my cousin and her partner, first-time voters, got my Republican sister to vote for Kamala Harris, taking my recently registered 18-year-old daughter to the polls to vote. I mean, this was 3 comments in a row, 4 comments in a row of just the first ones that I saw. There are so many people who are doing their parts. That is what is going to be the difference in this election. I can sit here all day and bark stuff to you on YouTube. It still will not come close to the impact that individual people have within their circles of people. The fact is that there's not a lot of trust happening in media. There's not a lot of trust happening with politicians. The onus is on people to reach out to their circles. The onus is on you guys right now to carry the message out to your family members, your friends, your neighbors, your coworkers, your kids, your parents, your grandparents. I mean, just look at the comment section right now. Got my mom and my brother to vote for Kamala. Got 1 undecided voter for Kamala. Brother and his wife re-engaged and voted early. This is the kind of stuff that restores your faith in this entire process. This is why it's so important to continue hammering away at this. And if everybody's doing it, that's when the numbers start to add up. So do not think that just because you're that you're able to reach out to one person that it's not going to matter, because it is. Because if everybody does it, then we have the margins to win. And again, these are not going to be million-person margins in this country. We're looking at Kamala Harris is looking at probably, if it's anything like Joe Biden's was in 2020, she's looking at 40,000 votes, probably less, in 3 states. That's it. So again, we'll leave it there. For those who want to support my work, again, I don't put any of my content behind a paywall. I don't do paid ads or sponsorships or anything like that. I don't believe in it. So the only way to support my work is just to subscribe to this channel. That's the best way to help support what I do. Completely free to do that. So just go ahead and hit the subscribe button. I'll do live streams like this one. I'll also do breaking news coverage, interviews, my legal series, my voting rights series. So a lot to look forward to here. And of course, we have a big plan for election night. So if you are looking for election night coverage and you're not going to be watching on mainstream media, maybe you are not happy with the way the mainstream media has navigated this moment. Maybe you think that they've abdicated their responsibility in properly conveying the gravity of the moment that we're in right now, or they can't stop engaging in both sidesism, then this would be a great alternative to get your election day coverage. So please make sure to subscribe, and I will check you at the next either live stream that I do or tomorrow's videos. All right. Thanks so much, everybody. Appreciate you watching. Talk to you soon.